As sun sets on summer and dusk brings fall, the days grow short and the nights grow long. As dawn brings winter, the skies become gray, and the wind grows cold. By the fireside is where the stories are told.
It was one of those places you do not find on a map, and if you ask too many questions about it, people stop looking you in the eye. The town of Hazard nestled along a curling river that once fed mills and turned wheels, but now only whispered to the stone and bones that lay beneath its shallow current. The bridge over that river, ancient and creaking, was as much a part of the town as the cold wind that never stopped blowing through the hollow. Elias Rourke was a man who did not believe in superstition, though he had made his fortune from other people's beliefs in it. A collector of obscure art, rare manuscripts, and items better left unclaimed. He had a habit of buying properties rumored to be cursed or haunted and turning them into profitable destinations. He was not a man of sentiment, nor was he frightened easily, but he was tired. The cities had become too loud, the crowds too demanding, and the shadows of his old choices had begun to stretch long behind him. So when he stumbled upon the deed to the old courthouse in Hazard, tucked away in a forgotten folder of probate documents, it felt like fate whispering in his ear. The townspeople didn't welcome him. They didn't threaten him either. They simply watched. The man at the gas station filled his tank without speaking. The waitress at the diner served his coffee with trembling hands. Children stared at him from cracked windows. Even the mayor, a man named Marlin, with eyes like burnt coals, only muttered that some things in town should not be touched. Elias ignored them. He had heard it all before. He knew the scent of desperation disguised as legend. What he did not know, or refused to admit, was that this time the silence in their voices was not fear of myth, but memory of truth. He moved into the courthouse. It had been empty for over 3 decades. The judge's bench had collapsed from rot, and a colony of blind insects nestled under the witness box. But the walls were dry, and the structure stood firm. The second floor contained a single bedroom and a small study that overlooked the bridge. Elias sat up, a writing desk there with his collection of age journals, ink pots, and a strange copper phonograph whose voice had been long ago silenced. On his first night, he heard a tapping sound from the river. Not the sound of water nor wind, but tapping, like nails drumming lightly on iron. He stood at the window and saw nothing. The moonlight clung to the bridge, outlining the railing in stones. And through the town lay dark, and though the town lay dark and still, he sensed movement, slow and sinuous, just beneath the water's black skin. The dreams began the following night. They were not dreams so much as visions. He saw a girl with eyes full of sorrow and mouth full of secrets. Her name pressed itself into his mind without sound. Mary. She wore a pale dress, soaked from the river, and her hair floated upward as if caught in unseen currents. She never spoke, only stared at him as though begging to be remembered. Her body hovered beside the bridge, face turned to the stars, lips trembling with words that could not be heard. Elias woke drenched in sweat. The sound of dripping water echoed in his ears, though the room was dry. He looked out over the river and thought he saw something white disappearing beneath the bridge. He told himself it was mist, though it had not rained in weeks. The following day, he began researching the history of the town. The courthouse records were mostly intact, stored in a locked basement room accessed by a stairwell behind the judge's bench. He broke the rusted chain and descended into the dark with only a lantern and his notebook. The basement smelled of earth and mold. The files were water-stained, many illegible. But one name recurred again and again. Mary Elkins. A disappearance. A man named Daniel had been accused, then exonerated, but the body had been found. The reports were vague. A single sentence stood out in thick, slanted ink. She was found under the bridge, facing the stars. Elias felt something tighten in his throat. He remembered the dreams. He remembered her face. It was not a coincidence. That night he played a warped recording from his phonograph. The needle stretched across the grooves, and a distorted voice sang something low and mournful. As the song played, the lantern flame flickered, though no breeze passed. Outside, the tapping began again. This time it was closer. Elias walked out to the bridge. The moon was full. Fog curled along the edges of the river, low and thick. He stood at the center of the bridge and looked down. For a moment, he saw nothing. Then, something pale floating to the surface. It was not a fish, nor a log. It was a hand, Delicate fingers reached upward, not to grasp, but to beckon. He stumbled back. The tapping grew louder, now sounding like footsteps behind him. He turned, but the bridge was empty. Still, the air pressed against him, heavy with the weight of unsaid words. He returned to the courthouse, but the silence did not follow him. The air inside had changed. The walls felt damp, and the stars creaked, and the stairs creaked, even when he stood still. In the mirror above the sink, he thought he saw a second reflection for just a heartbeat, a woman's face behind his own. He did not sleep that night. The days blurred. The river grew darker. People stopped walking past the courthouse. Nell stopped arriving. Lights in town seemed dimmer. Elias found himself staring for hours at the bridge, watching the water move without current. He read more of the old reports. Daniel, the man accused of Mary's death, had vanished. Last anyone saw of him, he was walking toward the river, speaking to someone who was not there. His shoes were found on the bridge, nothing else. One night, Elias woke to find the door to the study wide open. The phonograph was spinning, though he had not wound it. The same song played slower this time, stretched and warped until it no longer resembled music. It sounded like weeping, long and buried. He walked to the window. She stood on the bridge, Mary. Her skin was blue with cold, and her hair clung to her face. Her mouth moved. This time he heard her. "You were supposed to come with me." The next morning, Elias found his own journal covered in writing he did not remember. The words were scrawled over each other, pages blackened with repetition. Always the same phrase. Beneath the bridge, the stars burned cold. He knew he had to leave. He packed what he could, but when he tried to start his car, the engine refused to turn. His phone had no signal. The road out of town was closed with a gate he did not recall being there. When he approached it, the wind carried a voice to his ear, faint and childlike. "Where are you going, Elias? We haven't finished yet." That night, she came inside. He heard the front door open, though it was locked. Footsteps, wet and slow, moved through the foyer. The creak of the stairs echoed up to his room. He tried to lock the door, but it clicked open on its own. Mary stood in the threshold, water dripping from her dress, her eyes fixed on him with ancient sorrow. "You promised," she said, "you were going to run away with me." He remembered nothing of the promise, But deep within his mind, a voice, not his own, whispered that he had. In another life, another town, another name, he had loved her. But he had left her. He had watched her walk to the river. He had let her go alone. Now, she had come back. The next morning, the town awoke to silence. The courthouse door stood open. The second-floor study was empty. Elias was never seen again. But the bridge remembers. Children say that if you walk across it at midnight, you can hear two voices whispering beneath the stones. One male full of regret, one female full of longing. Sometimes a figure can be seen standing on the far side, waiting, never moving, watching the river. They say the water is no longer safe. Animals refuse to drink from it. No fish swims there. And sometimes, when the wind is just right, you can hear a song playing from the ruins of the courthouse. The voice is warped, but if you listen carefully, you can make out the words. Beneath the bridge, the stars burn cold. Come with me, come home. No one stays long in Hazard anymore.
As sun sets on summer and dusk brings fall, the days grow short and the nights grow long. As dawn brings winter, the skies become gray, and the wind grows cold. By the fireside is where the stories are told.